Love, in its truest form, often blooms in the unlikeliest of places. On stage, amid the glow of spotlights and the hum of anticipation, where vulnerability meets artistry. For Sara Bareilles and Joe Tippett, that serendipitous spark ignited during the rehearsal rooms of Broadway's Waitress, a musical that itself celebrates the quiet triumphs of everyday romance. After 9 years of shared laughter, challenges, and creative synergy, the couple has finally exchanged vows in a heartfelt, understated wedding that mirrored the authenticity at the core of their relationship. This union isn't just a chapter's end for two talented performers. It's a harmonious new verse in a love song they've been composing together since their paths first crossed. The ceremony, held on a crisp autumn day, unfolded in the intimate embrace of a private backyard transformed into a sanctuary of simplicity and warmth. Picture this: sun-dappled leaves rustling overhead, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of fresh blooms, and a gathering of close-knit souls who have journeyed alongside Sara and Joe through the highs of sold-out shows and the lows of pandemic shutdowns. No sprawling venue, no paparazzi frenzy, just a big thing in the most personal sense, as Sara herself described it. The setup was charmingly DIY, colorful rug runners unfurled like a patchwork path down a grassy aisle, leading to an arch adorned with wildflowers and fairy lights that twinkled like stars in the afternoon sky. At the heart of it all was their beloved dog, a fluffy bundle of joy serving as the ring-bearer, trotting proudly with a satin pillow clutched in its jaws, evoking giggles from the small assembly. Sara, the Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter whose hits like Brave and Love Song have empowered millions, stepped into her bridal moment with a grace that echoed her onstage poise. Her gown, a masterpiece of understated elegance, featured a deep V-neckline that plunged daringly yet tastefully, crafted from flowing ivory silk that cascaded to the floor. Delicate jewel embroidery traced the bodice like musical notes on sheet music, catching the light with every step, while a subtle slit along one leg added a whisper of modernity, a nod, perhaps, to the bold spirit that defines her career. She crowned her look with a slender headband woven with tiny pearls, and her feet were slipped into strappy sandal heels that allowed her to dance freely into this new chapter. There was no veil of tradition to obscure her radiant smile. Instead, her loose waves framed a face alight with unbridled joy. Joe, the Tony-nominated actor whose chameleon-like performances in shows like Dear Evan Hansen and The Boys in the Band have earned him critical acclaim, complimented his bride with equal parts dapper charm and heartfelt ease. His navy suit, tailored to perfection, hugged his frame without constraint, paired with a floral orange tie that bloomed like a sunset against the crisp fabric, a vibrant pop of color symbolizing the vibrancy Sara brings to his life. Brown loafers grounded the ensemble, practical for the outdoor setting yet polished enough for the occasion. As he stood at the altar, eyes locked on Sara's approach, it was clear this wasn't performance. It was presence, raw and real. Their love story, however, didn't begin with grand gestures but with quiet collaboration. They met in 2015 during Joe's audition for Waitress, the Sarah Penn musical that became a Broadway staple. Amid pie-baking props and heartfelt ballads, sparks flew not in scripted romance but in the offstage moments, shared coffees during breaks, late-night script readings that stretched into dawn discussions on life and art. 8 years later, in 2022, Joe proposed, marking the crescendo of their duet. Sara has often reflected on this origin tale with fondness, telling interviewers how the project brought me my future husband, a beautiful serendipity that turned colleagues into confidants. In the lead-up to the wedding, Joe had been dropping breadcrumbs of bliss across social media, his posts a playful prelude to the vows. Weeks earlier, he'd shared a snapshot at City Hall, Sara beaming beside a marriage license sign, captioning it with a wink, "Getting some property assessed." It was classic Joe, wry, affectionate, hinting at the domestic dreams they nurtured. On the day itself, October 5th, he posted a tender embrace photo declaring, "Marrying my best friend today. May we all be so lucky." Sara's response came post-ceremony, a carousel of images capturing the essence. Her in that embroidered gown, Joe mid-laugh, their dog mid-prance. "I love this man and the community who came to hold us up," she wrote. "Feeling so lucky and so grateful." The guest list, though intimate, brimmed with artistic luminaries, fellow Waitress castmates, musicians who'd collaborated on Sara's albums, and friends from the theater world who understood the sacredness of their bond. Toasts flowed like melodies, with anecdotes of Joe's impromptu serenades during long tours and Sara's habit of scribbling lyrics on napkins during date nights. Their dog, the unofficial MVP, stole scenes by chasing butterflies between vows, a reminder that love includes the furry family members who ground us. Reflecting on their path, Sara's words from Joe's birthday earlier this year paint a vivid portrait. You are the great big adventure. The deep waters and the life raft and the storm and the sky and the rainbow and the new dawn. It's poetic, much like her discography, which has evolved from piano-driven pop to Broadway anthems exploring love's facets. Joe, in turn, has credited Sara with reigniting his passion for performance post-pandemic, their home a haven where scripts and scores intermingle. Post-wedding, the couple wasted no time envisioning their future. Whispers of joint projects, a musical perhaps, blending Sara's songcraft with Joe's dramatic flair, circulate among friends. For now, they're savoring the honeymoon phase, jetting to a secluded coastal retreat where waves crash like applause. Sara's latest album,